Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today I am continuing on my Margarete Miller Collage weekly planner journey. And again, every week we work on creating collages based on some little weekly prompts or assignments that we got from Margarete Miller. And she has this really nice planner, and I do have a link listed below if you are unfamiliar with it. This particular one is in planner format. She does have it available if you just want the prompts or if you want the digital download, which is easier, I know, for some people who don't live in the US. And she doesn't have the specific dates in them, so you can fill out dates later on. And I plan on using this as my planner next year. And so I'll write in the dates next year, but it's been kind of a fun little assignment. And she gives you all these random little prompts to try and create a collage with. And so we're already on week 24. And then on top of this, my other goal has always been to just use supplies that I have in my current stash or in my house. I try not to go out and buy anything new, and I also have told myself I'm not going to print off anything off of the internet or from any of my digital kits. If I already have it printed off and it's left over from something great, I can use it, but I don't specifically seek out printing off anything new for this assignment. And then I also admit that I work a couple weeks in advance just because certain times of the year I'm really busy for work, and I just like to have that extra time to work on things. And then I also grab some of the future prompts. Like when I look ahead, I maybe have already grabbed some of these and already compiled them into piles so that I'm ready to go, which makes it easier. And so I admit for this week, I've been stewing over this one for a while, not quite sure what I was going to do. And then I thought I had it in my head, and then I woke up this morning and to work on this collage, and I completely changed my mind. But this week's prompt is, we're on week number 24, and then the prompt is, do you have a favorite song, artist, or style of music? And then you're supposed to create a collage with this as your theme. And for me, I admit it's really hard because I am very eclectic when it comes to my music choices. I listen to such a wide variety. One day I might be listening to classic rock, and the next day I'm listening to like classic country or even current country, top 40 songs. Just a wide variety. So I listen to stuff from the 50s because that's what my mom listened to when I was growing up. So sometimes I listen to that type of music. I also listen to a lot older music than that too, because I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and she had, different favorite artists from way back then. And so I also listen to that kind of music. So, and I can't say that I really have a favorite or one that I'm particularly drawn to more so than the rest of them. A lot of times I just base it off of my mood and what I feel like. And sometimes I also base it off if my husband's in the room or not, because my husband is kind of he likes the classic rock, and then once in a while he'll listen to some of the classic country type music, some of the older country music. But so that's usually, what we listen to for in the car, because that's what he likes. But anyways, when I was trying to figure this out, what I was going to choose, and I was also thinking of what I had in my stash, my husband and I was talking to him about it. We were watching this movie, and we usually watch it kind of in the spring every year. It's kind of a fun little movie, and it's called The Big Year, and I don't know that too many people have probably heard of it. But it does have, and I'm blanking now, Jack Black in it is one of the actors, and it's about a group of guys, and they all kind of take part in this big challenge, which is called The Big Year. And so you get this whole year from January 1st to December 31st to count as many birds or see as many birds as you can. And the reason why this movie appeals to both me and my husband is that we do birding surveys every year for part of our job, some wildlife surveys, and we actually go out and look at breeding birds in particular areas every year to see which birds are there, what birds are nesting, what birds we hear and stuff. So anyways, on that song, or that movie, they do have a song called I Like Birds, and it's kind of a quirky song, and it always sticks in my head for a while after we watched that movie. So when I was like, oh, I can easily do a collage based on that, I have lots of bird ephemera, and I can write out the lyrics, and that would be perfect. And then today I woke up, and I admit I'm kind of in a melancholy mood a little bit, and that song just about the birds, I like birds, just doesn't fit for my mood for today. And so I picked a different song that popped into my head. And so I did look up the lyrics, and I don't know, again, my husband said he'd never heard of the song, but I think it's a little bit more popular than what he thinks it is. But and it's called Blackbird, and it's by the Beatles. And so I did write it out. And when I think about this song, I interpret it just because of the lyrics. It's kind of, it's sung by the Beatles, and when they sing it, it's just kind of a guitar music and then just singing it. And I believe they're like either tapping their feet or clapping their hands to it for the beat. So there's not a lot of background instruments to it. But when I hear the lyrics, I kind of interpret the song as maybe when life has you down or you feel a little bit of broken, you should try and find the good, and that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope, and that there's always light at the end of the tunnel is kind of how I interpret the music. But I do believe that when the song was originally written, it was about the civil rights movement, and specifically the women in the civil rights movement. So I think that the whole meaning behind it is a little bit different than how I'm interpreting it. But again, I'm just interpreting it today kind of as, even when you're feeling down, there's always, you know, in a dark space maybe, that there's always light at the end of the tunnel or hope. So that's how I'm interpreting it. And when I decided I was going to go with this song, I knew exactly which type of paper I was going to use. It took me a while to find it in my stash, but I did sit down and write out the lyrics because I think I'm just going to attach them when I'm done to one side of the page or the other. And then I pulled out some paper, and it took, like I said, it took me for a while. This was the piece of paper I was looking for. I knew I had it in my stash. It's from an older paper collection, and it had this blackbird on it. And I knew then I just wanted to take maybe one part of the lyrics and stamp them out and cut them out and put it onto the paper. So I already kind of started doing that. I used these rubber stamps that have been in my stash for a long time. And then I wanted to show you guys how I like to stamp, because they're really long stamps, and to try to make them somewhat even or level is I actually take a piece of like masking tape, and I just put the words together, as many letters as I can around it, and I put a ruler down, and then I will stamp it out so that it's somewhat even. And I just wanted to give you guys that little hint if you've never done that before with these types of stamps. It works really well when you're stamping with these longer stamps and you can't really use a stamp positioner very easily on them. But anyways, so my plan was is I'm going to cut out each of these separately, and I screwed up on this broken right here, so I had to do it again. And I'm going to layer it onto some scratch, each set or each word onto the black scrapbooking paper, and then I'm going to arrange them onto here and then put them onto my layout over here. And I had grabbed, like I said, this was the piece of paper I was thinking of in my head. But then I also came across this one, and I might use part of this one as a layering one behind it. And then also when I was looking for this paper pad that I had, I came across this one from a Halloween pad, and I thought, well, if I couldn't find this paper, that it would work. But I didn't like the fact that it had this like evil looking face in it, even though I know it might be somewhat appropriate for the song. I just didn't like the little face that you saw in there. And then I also thought at the time, well, if I couldn't find that other paper, I could always put, you know, some sort of word over it. But I'm not going to use this paper, but I did want to show it to you guys because I had pulled it out. And then I also pulled out this Bo Bunny background paper in case I wanted to use that on the background if I didn't like the layering with some of these other papers that I grabbed. And so I am going to do a couple things off camera. I'm going to cut out all my words and layer them on top of the black cardstock that I have. I'm going to cut down this piece of paper because it is 6 inches, so I think it's a little too big for my planner page. So I am going to cut it down, and then I'm just going to decide at that point when I cut it down if I'm going to layer it onto a piece of black cardstock or if I'm going to use this one, this Bo Bunny one, and what I'm going to do from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will be right back. So I'm back, and I do apologize. I did mean to start recording after I had cut all my pieces out before I glued everything, and I completely spaced out turning my camera on. And so I'm here now with a finished layout for my Blackbird song by the Beatles. And so here is my finished layout. I did cut this sheet of paper down slightly. I also added a piece in the background of black cardstock. And then I did take part of the strip right here I used underneath this title Blackbird. And then I had to use another small strip from that other piece of paper to put the Learn to Fly down there. And then I glued this piece with the crow on it, or the bird, the blackbird on it. And then I took the rest of the lyrics and added them right there. And so from the song, I'm choosing, again, this song from the Beatles. It's called Blackbird. And the song starts out, blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. So those were my song lyrics that I chose, take these broken wings and learn to fly. And so that's kind of my basic little layout for using this song for this week. And I do appreciate all of you watching, and hopefully you're all doing well, and we will talk to you again next week when I work on week number 25. So until then, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.